move on in the interest of time, a little bit about, on the spirit and topic of evacuation and joint planning, what we're doing in the Palo Alto lands, especially up in the Foothills Park, Arrestero Preserve area. So Arrestero Road, Alpine Road, part of that, Page Mill, our part of Skyline. Because life safety is our top priority, our priority is being given to treating evacuation routes, meaning that we are removing, not completely, we're not clear cutting, this is all being done very environmentally sound, I'm going to talk about that, but we're removing fuel, that is brush and scrub, that is too close to the roadway, that would burn so hot that if you were to drive by it, it would melt your car. Assets at risk, again, this is geared towards what's in the city limits. You have lots of assets here, obviously, all at risk, your houses. But just in the city of Palo Alto alone, the formal city limits, more than 200 homes. We have a lot of commercial and industrial space that people forget about that's up in our wildland urban interface, our WUI area. So back to what we're doing and what we're treating. Our priority is based on these facts here. 80%, according to the numbers we were given, of wildland fires start within 10 feet of roads. I'll mention the last one, by the way, natural resource enhancement. In some cases, the treatments that we do are beneficial to native species, native flora and fauna. It's not the case that we're just there to rip everything out and denude the soil and be terrible stewards of the land. On the contrary, if we let things go, invasive species and non-natives can proliferate, and/or a large fire could really hurt all the plants and animals, obviously, in the area, and destroy the seed bed below it because it burns too hot. Could be vehicles, could be people throwing things out of vehicles. So it makes sense to do the treatment along the roadside, A, because that's your evacuation route, and B, because it will hopefully reduce the likelihood of ignition in those areas. Treatment recommendations. Carol Rice and her consulting crew, in consultation with CAL FIRE and others, came up with this. This is really what we're going to be focused on over the next 5 years. It's on a rotational plan. Lester Hodgins, his guys from the ranger staff are intimately involved. They've been doing existing treatments. This is the nature of the work that we're going to do. It is not a major expansion, even though we have a lot of deferred maintenance, to put it mildly. We're going to move from currently about 200 acres of treatment to about 330, but rotating on a 5-year basis. So what is a treatment? Okay, we have machines, we have controlled burns or prescribed burns, we have animals, goats are really nice for that, hand tools, we have power tools, and these are done in a rotational method that is best suited for the kind of goal we seek to reach with the given tool. In some cases, because there's so many sensitive plants, you can't use anything but trained hand crews to go in there with a biologist survey having been done. In other cases, using a machine is really the effective thing to do if it's just removing thistle from the side of the road, for example. Pretty much covered this. The one thing I didn't mention already is part of the treatment that we're doing, especially up in Foothills Park, is to create what's called a firefighter safety zone. It's basically a way to have a clear area that doesn't have a lot of fuel, so if they need to take shelter or refuge in a place, they can do so. You are familiar with this in the Vista Verde, Los Trancos area, because my understanding is Pony Tracks Ranch is one of those locations. It's also a shelter for the residents. So this picture here is kind of what to avoid. These are scary, these are dramatic, and if this were your house or your neighbor's house, the impact of seeing this slide would be very great. It's pretty traumatic to have this happen. So in the spirit of working together, as Steve Friedman mentioned, we have volunteer programs. In Palo Alto, we generically call that emergency services volunteers. The types of volunteers we have, nobody's from Palo Alto right now, so we'll gloss over this, but you have this in your CERT program. Our friends from Los Altos Hills have this in their CERT program. You're going to have these volunteers who've been trained to be our eyes and ears and your eyes and ears. They're the people who are more aware, they're the people who are the leaders in your community. They might be the people whom you met at a neighborhood block party or potluck, and like Tracy and like others, have realized that in addition to the social value, there is safety in numbers, and we're stronger working together. With that, I'll open it up for some questions.